So guys, in this video, I'm going to show you guys how to set that situation up. And the most important thing here is to understand how back 122 works, right? So if you are hitting your opponent with back 122 and counter hit, all 3 hit will be guaranteed, right? And if you don't hit them with counter hit, the last one will be blocked. So you have to understand, you can't just throw this out like as if it's going to hit all 3. It will only hit if it hits on counter hit, right? So we're going to show you guys how to set that up in a little bit. But most importantly, I want to show you guys how this move works on block on all of the situation, right? So back 1 by itself is -2. Great scenario for you to set up a lot of stuff, right? Because if the second string comes, they're gonna have to block, or if they don't, they're gonna get hit. But if the second string doesn't come, you really could take advantage of the -2 and pretend like that is actually your frame, because most people will probably hesitate and wait for the second one. Then you can really just throw it again, or you can sidestep, or you can do something very quick like a down 4 or something like that, or a quick counter hit launcher or something like that, right? But ideally, you usually would do a single if you want to do some form of situation setup, right? But the last 2 hits, they're both -11 and -12, right? So really, it is kind of hard not to just throw out the last one. But I'll tell you, if you throw out the last one, you will always get punished. If you don't throw out the last one, the second one, sometimes they won't punish you because the threat of the third one, right? But regardless, they're both -11 and -12, so you should use them how you feel comfortable with, right? Okay, now how we set this thing up, right? So first of all, we want to make sure we're always going to be getting it on counter hit, right? So that we can get all 3 hits a hit. But first, I want to show you guys the range where you need to be at the wall, right? So if you're literally at the wall, you are not gonna get anything, right? You're just going to get like a small combo, maybe nothing. Yeah, you really aren't gonna get anything, right? If you are somewhat close to the wall, but not exactly at the wall, like somewhere like this, you might get a short combo, maybe not. But okay, basically you're not. Sometimes you do, but it has to be a certain range, right? But if you are in like the perfect range, it's like around this range probably, I think. Let's try it. Yeah. Well, yeah. You see when the character is rolling back, not rolling back, falling back like that? If you're seeing that animation, you're probably at the right zone, right? So something like that, right? So if you get about that range, you're gonna be able to do combos with it, right? Okay, so the thing is, obviously, if you're in that range, you can actually use 3+4 to connect, right? But you have to be in that perfect zone, so it's not that easy to get into that perfect zone. Yeah, so you can get 3+4 to connect, right? So here, if you have heat activated on yourself, you can actually lead this into a combo, right? So yeah, so you can do something like this for a combo, right? So you get like 99 damage, right? That's without rage or anything like that, right? So okay, next, how do we do that on the balcony is also dependent on the range where you are. But for some reason, I got the range down for the balcony, right? So basically, it's like right here, right? So for the balcony break, I'll tell you guys, you don't need heat to do this, and you prefer not to use heat, because if you use heat, it's gonna scale the damage and you're gonna do less damage, right? So you rather not use the heat, right? So in this case, if you know there's a balcony break, basically you're gonna go ahead and do this, and you're gonna want the same range that you have there, right? And then you're gonna get that, and you're just gonna go for a basic combo, right? And once you get your basic combo down, you finish the string, right? And you get some decent damage, right? Okay, now I'm gonna show you some situations of how to set this up, right? So what you want is a frame trap scenario where your opponent will just press something, right? And it's hard to make them press something because it depends on their level, right? Because if they're really good, they probably won't be falling for every frame trap you throw out, right? So okay, so there is no guarantee, like I said, that they're gonna press or smash in these scenarios, so don't always just throw it out. But these are scenarios where you can set it up, right? So obviously after back 3-3, you're +7. So this is enough to set you up where you can get this to work, right? Yeah, so let's just say if we're near at the wall, right? And your opponent decides probably around this range, right? And you're gonna go like boom, boom, and then decide to press. Yeah, see? And then you get like that kind of combo, right? But like with that said, don't just spam the same setup and situation all the time. People are gonna figure it out, right? And then other scenario, obviously stuff like this, you can do it from this. It's super plus, right? This is like +12. You can do it from this situation. And then a magic 4 setup like this. I don't know if people generally press after this, but that's kind of a setup that you can do, right? And then one setup where you can do that doesn't typically frame trap jabs is obviously on block with a 4-3-1, right? Oops, on block. So yeah, so if you do this option, you will tray, right? So the goal here is if you do this option, it will tray, but the idea behind it is that this is pushing off. And if your opponent typically wants to do a long range move, they will probably think about dashing up a little bit, right? So in that scenario, you can set this up using this as well, right? And even if you don't get it to work, tray gives you +5. So this tray will give you +5. So in that sense, now you're really still plus. You can do like a 3-4, something like that, right? So okay, so pretty much that's it. So that's kind of like anytime you get a scenario where you really are plus a lot, like more than 6, and you want to do like a counter hit 1 setup, that's kind of like the situation right there, right? And the cool thing about back 1 is it really does have this strange tracking mechanism where sometimes it tracks to the right, sometimes it tracks to the left, depending on the range and stuff like that. So I'll give you guys an example real quick here, right? So if I did hit Lily with this and she tried to step to the right, I don't know if it'll work on Lily. I purposely used her because she has the best. Yeah, you see? Sometimes if they try to step immediately, it will catch them to the left like that, right? Yeah, strange, right? But the weird thing is that this move actually also tracks to the right, but it doesn't work in this scenario if they go to your left or whatever. Yeah, so it doesn't track this way sometimes, but generically this tracks better this side, right? Which is weird. So I don't know. Yeah, so if you do this, oh, it still tracks on that side, but of course it's so plus, so that's why it should track in that scenario. But yeah, so that's it. Hopefully this video helps you guys out if you guys want to learn some tricks. Hopefully this doesn't get nerfed.